Our next storyteller is Brandi Neogra. Brandi is a social worker in Parkersburg, West Virginia. She's originally from northeastern Pennsylvania, but has been living in West Virginia for about 12 years. She was diagnosed with major depressive disorder in her early 20s, but she's been dealing with its symptoms since early adolescence. Please join me in welcoming Brandi Neogra.
For me, depression is like the demon that lives inside me and pokes its head out at the most inopportune times. I spent the majority of my life living with this voice in my head that was me, but not me. It was, and is, the worst parts of me, given life and voice. It's the thing with the poison fangs, the claws that grip my vitals, the whisper that says I'm not good enough, that the world would be better off without me. It's the anxiety that every time I open my mouth, I'm saying the wrong thing. The constant repetition after I've said something that what I've just said was so stupid. That moment where I tell myself I'm a complete idiot and I should just never speak again. I experience depression as perfectionism gone rogue. My brain examines every single flaw and refuses to let go until I've broken myself down so far that I'm sure I'll never be good enough for anything. As a teenager and young adult, it felt like I was living with a constant internal scream, like the tinnitus ringing you get sometimes, but so much louder. It was a constant stream of everything that was wrong with me and my life and how much of a terrible person I was. The thing I thought the most those days was, please, dear God, just make it stop. Over the years, I've tried many things to just feel better, to make myself believe that I'm not the overwhelming failure that I can make myself out to be. Some things have worked for me, and some haven't. Let me start with this short list of things I found didn't work for me. Drinking, drugs, relationships, sex, eating, picking fights. I'd go on, but I said this was going to be a short list. And so began my period of experimentation with leaving the planet for a while. Because being drunk, or high, or wrapped up in a never-ending deluge of drama took my focus off my own madness. In high school, anger was the only way I could find to keep people at a distance so they wouldn't know just how not okay I was. I don't fully understand why I couldn't tell anyone that, even to this day. Something to do with wanting to appear fearless and invincible, or with appearing not to be vulnerable, or with this knowledge I had that even though I spent so much time helping everyone else with their problems, no one cared about mine. Whether or not that was true was not the issue. That's just how I felt about it at the time. During these years, I thought about ending my life more than I care to admit. What many people don't understand is that I didn't really want to die. I just wanted not to be in such agonizing, debilitating pain. At that point, there were two thoughts that saved me from permanently ending my pain. The first was, who would have to clean this up? And the second was, who's going to take care of my cat? They got me through when I was this close to an irreversible choice. In moments when I was further from the edge, but not much, I would also think of my family and know that I couldn't cause them the kind of pain that I was feeling. Fast forward to one of the darkest points of my life. I was 3 hours from home, from family and friends, with coworkers I had only known for a couple of months. I had panic attacks so severe I dry heaved and threw up almost every day, and I was in way over my head. After a few months, I knew that I needed to go home. One day, I'd gone to the doctor, but ended up seeing the nurse practitioner instead. She asked me what the problem was, and suddenly, my whole life story was pouring out to a complete stranger. I, the girl who joked that her lady balls were too big for her to cry in the theater, was in hysterics in this woman's exam room. What she did next probably saved my life. She wrote me a prescription for Effexor XR. Now, I'm not saying that medication is always the answer, but it was the answer for me at that point. And I went home. It was another year or so before I really, truly came to the realization that the things I was doing to cope weren't working, and I needed to try something else. So I started therapy. I went on and off for a couple of years, mostly on, and it helped. For me, telling a stranger that I don't know if I have the strength to go on is infinitely easier than telling anyone in my family or friend group. Someone has to be the stalwart, sassy, strong one, and I assigned myself that role to make sense of the chaos around me. So medication and therapy have helped. They didn't cure my depression, but they've helped me realize that all the pain and negative thinking is the depression talking. They've gotten me to the point that I can now see my unhealthy thoughts for what they are. I can't stop a bout of depression, but I can see it coming and recognize it when it's here and do things to keep it from completely knocking me on my butt. Exercise is another thing that helps. I go to the gym 3 times a week and sweat. I slam medicine balls and imagine pushing my rage and difficult feelings from my body. I go to yoga. I listen to music while I do chores. Podcasts help too. The Hilarious World of Depression is one that I listen to when I'm feeling particularly down. And so I'd like to leave you all with one final thought. Mental health isn't something that has a cure. Like diabetes, it's just a thing you have or you don't. But that doesn't mean that if you've got depression or anxiety or bipolar or whatever, that you have to lay down and let it run roughshod over you. Help is out there, and there are options. There are always options. All you have to do is reach out, and someone will reach back. Thank you.
So good, so talented. Thank you, Brandi.